All right. Good afternoon, everybody. I hope y'all can hear me. I hope everybody's doing well. Um, I'm assuming everybody's joining us today because Chef Walker is going to go through a first look of the Master Chef exam manual. Can everybody hear me okay? Can I get a thumbs up? I see a bunch of people. I see faces. I see thumbs. Cool. I'm going to let Chef Walker take it away, and we'll allow some time at the end for some questions and answers. All right?
All right.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here. First of all, yeah, if you have questions as we go along, please just put them in the chat or write them down so we can answer them at the end. It'll be easier than trying to get off track as we go. The other thing, I won't be reviewing the complete manual today. I'm pretty much reviewing the exam itself and not the qualifications or prerequisites. By the end of the week, the entire manual will be up on the AMCO website, and you'll be able to go through and read all that stuff. But since all of you are in the assessment program, you're pretty much through all the prerequisites and the requirements, qualifications beforehand. So instead of wasting our time with that, we're just going to go right into the exam. So excited to share this with you. It's been a long process that a lot of chefs have been involved in. Chef Andrini, Chef Arnone, Chef Ford, Chef Sayus, Chef Volkamer. Who am I missing? Chef
You.
Brian is a bit of it. So we've done a lot of work, and we're very proud of where we're at with it. So we shall start right here. Okay. So start with the mission statement of the exam. The mission statement of the American Master Chef Order Certified Master Chef exam is to uphold the highest standards of culinary excellence by assessing and recognizing chefs who have demonstrated mastery in advanced techniques, innovation, and professionalism. Through rigorous evaluation, the exam honors integrity, discipline, respect for ingredients, inspiring growth, and advancing the chef's role as a leader in the culinary industry. Again, it'll be up online come hopefully by Thursday, by Friday. The exam overview, pre-day one will be an orientation, and we will get into each one of these days as we move through. This is just a quick slide to show you how the exam is laid out. Day one is plant-based cookery and garmage preparation. Day two is garmage preparation. Day three is garmage presentation and cuisines of the world. Day four is classical cuisine, chef's market preparation, and day five is the chef market basket. So the test is now down to 5 fairly intense days from start to finish. In pre-test, 1 week prior to pre-day one orientation, the candidates will receive the protein requirements for their day 5 basket, their chef's market basket, along with a seasonal market ingredient list. You will have 24 hours to submit the menu and your order guide by email. That 24-hour time zone is the submission time is governed by the host site time zone. So if you're in California and it's supposed to be submitted by 9 a.m., that is 9, and the host site is in New York, then that is 6 a.m. for you in California. And that is the same throughout the exam. 72 hours prior to arrival, you will receive your day, actually that should say day 1, not day 2. Day 1 plant-based market ingredient list. A sample of the list will be available on the AMCO website. The menu and order guide must be submitted by email within 24 hours, and it's governed by the host time zone. Just like Chef Young did this week with his plant-based, which I heard you did very well with. So congratulations on that, Chef Young. Thank you for running that through for us. Pre-1 orientation, you will meet for an orientation session. You'll be introduced to the evaluators. You'll get to tour the facilities, receive your station assignment. I'll get into that in just a second. You'll draw and meet your apprentices to review expectations. And candidates will be given 30 minutes to set up their station. And during the exam, no other time for setup will be allowed. I'll explain that in just a second when we get through this next bullet point. And candidates opting to include an artisan bread for their day 5 chef's market basket will have 15 minutes to prepare a bread starter or feed a pre-established starter that you would bring into the exam. And you will also draw for contemporary charcuterie and garmager. So to look over this real quick, the idea or the hope is that you will be on the same station for the entirety of the exam. If that is the case, then your setup time for days 2 through 5 will have to take place during your 30-minute cleanup time the day before. Now, there's a possibility that we're at some place where it's not possible to keep you on the same station for the entire exam. So we would then adjust that time zone to give you time to set up that morning, 15 minutes before, as you walk in to set up your station before your time would start. Also with your apprentices, it is our expectation to give you the apprentice as much as possible throughout the exam. But due to their schedule, work schedule, that type of thing, there will be times when your apprentice may change throughout the week, but it is our goal that we would give you the same apprentice for like garmager, since that's a 2-day process. Actually, it's a 3-day process, but they only take place in 2 of those days. And so we want to make sure that we are as consistent with that as possible. But due to class schedules and their work schedules, that may not be possible throughout the exam. And if I am going too fast, please let me know and I will slow down. Just say something. I have the picture of being able to see everybody off so I can see the presentation. So if I'm going too fast, please just holler out and I'll slow down or put it in the chat. Plant-based cookery, which is day 1, part 1. Candidates must demonstrate the mastery of plant-based culinary principles by effectively utilizing a marked ingredient list of seasonal ingredients. This dietary approach prioritizes fiber-rich plant foods, including vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, and alternative proteins. Candidates must demonstrate the mastery of flavor development using established cooking techniques, fundamentals, consistency and portion control, and presentation, along with the formulation of the menu and its components. All will be evaluated at the mastery level. The evaluation team will assess the candidate's performance based on their proficiency in these fundamentals and the overall methodology used in the execution of the menu and its preparation. This is a vegan-based menu. There is no animal products allowed in the plant-based section. The competencies would be 6 plated portions of a 4-course meal. The menu composition is appetizer, hot or cold, super salad, main course, and I need to take that out. Again, sorry for this. And dessert, hot, room temperature, or cold, and it must contain a frozen element. The menu must contain a complete protein, not the main course. So 72 hours before, you'll receive this market ingredient list. And from this list, you will choose, along with the Common Kitchen, your menu. And from this list, you're required to incorporate and highlight a minimum of 12 items from the market ingredient list in the creation of the menu. No longer, with a few exceptions, are we saying, here is a list of ingredients, you need to use some of all. In this case, we're giving you more items than you would necessarily use, but you have to use 12 of them within the menu. The timing is 4 hours of preparation, a 30-minute service window, and a 30-minute station cleanup and reset. The common kitchen obviously may be used, and candidates will have a 30-minute period to submit a supplemental requisition for non-essential items. What we are considering a non-essential item is any item that is not listed as a main item on your menu. So for instance, say you were making a turnip pave and you didn't order your turnips. That's considered an essential item. More than likely, we will give you that item, but there would be a point deduction. But if you didn't order, let's say, the coconut milk for the pave, and obviously I'm just making that up, then we would, and it wasn't in the common kitchen, then that would be what would be a non-essential item and put on a supplemental requisition. Your contemporary charcuterie and garde manger menu and order guide are due by email at 8 o'clock that morning. The schedule, in the afternoon after plant-based, you have for contemporary charcuterie and garde manger preparation, you have a 2-hour mise en place and preparation time. You can do any type of prep that you think would be most valuable to your program for the menu you wrote. You must be out of the kitchen within 2 hours, and everything must be out of the oven, and everything must be cleaned and organized for the next day. After your reset, you'll be given 15 minutes to feed the bread starter if you've decided that you were going to do an artisan bread for day 5. No supplemental requisitions will be accepted for this section. However, the common kitchen will be accessible. Apprentices will not be helping you in the kitchen at all on this day, except for putting away your charcuterie and garde manger order guide. At the end of that 2 hours, at the end of the day, you will draw for Cuisines of the World Cookery. So this is just a 2-hour period the day before to do whatever you think will help you the best. If that's breaking down your protein, roasting bones, starting stocks, starting your aspects, marinating your proteins, that is all perfectly fine. Any type of cookery. If you decided that you pulled, let's say you pulled char as one of your ingredients, and you decided in 2 hours you could make a char terrine and get it into the refrigerator and cooling down overnight, absolutely acceptable. Whatever you feel would best help your program succeed is what we're giving you the availability to do. Day 2 is charcuterie and garde manger prep. In accordance with both classical and modern practices, the candidate must demonstrate the following competencies to meet the major requirements. The candidate will show mastery of the understanding and functionality of the garde manger kitchen. The candidate must demonstrate the mastery of cooking principles as they relate to flavor development, compatibility and practicality of ingredients for both main and support items of a cold food display. Consistency and portion control and presentation along with the formulation of the menu and its components will be evaluated to the mastery level. The evaluation team will assess the candidate's performance based on their proficiency in these fundamentals and the overall methodology used in the menu preparation. The competencies. The menu composition is 9 portions, 8 displayed as for a formal cocktail reception, and 1 corresponding show plate. The main items are a pâté en croûte, A terrine or galantine must utilize a different force meat than that of the pate en croûte, and a whole muscle, and that may contain up to 20% force meat by the weight of the muscle being utilized. So if you had a turkey and you wanted to put a force meat under the skin, if you had a side of char and you wanted to put a cap on the top of it with a force meat, that would be fine. But please note that you must make a pate en croûte. That is one item that has to be there. And then you have to make a secondary terrine or galantine depending on the proteins that you got. Along with that, you need to make, oh, there's something missing there. Let me see. Hold on, let me see. Yep, I need to go back. So I'm missing something on this slide, and I apologize. I thought I went through all this and got it in there. Along with each one of these items, and I'll see if it comes up later. I apologize. You also need to make 12 pieces of 2 different canapes. Canapes may be hot or cold. One must incorporate pâte à choux as a vessel, and one must contain a mousse. So, so you cannot just make a decoration out of pâte à choux and use that as a garnish. It must be a vessel that your canapé is held in. They can be hot or cold, depending on whatever you like. You have 12-hour preparation time for the day. You have to feed your bread starter within that 12-hour window. There is no extra time given on this day, and you'll draw for classical cuisine at the end of the day. And the menu and order guide due for day 3, Cuisines of the World Cookery, is due by 8 o'clock by email. The market basket ingredients, this is a sample market basket ingredient list. 2 primary proteins, a secondary protein, 2 vegetable items, 1 farinaceous item, a legume, a leafy green, a fruit, and then 1 supplementary item picked by the lead evaluator. All portions of the provided basket ingredients must be utilized. The common kitchen may be used. The candidates will have a 30-minute period to submit a supplemental requisition for non-essential items. Now, let me do this. I'm going to escape out of here, and I'm going to stop sharing this, and I'm going to pull up the actual exam handling so I can show you what I missed here. So what I did not show you, and then we'll go back, are these accompanying items. Along with the pate en croûte, the terrine or galantine, and the whole muscle, each item, the pate en, oh, I'm not showing.
Chef, you're not sharing. Sorry.
I got to share. Sorry. I'm reading it though, and it looks really good. So along with the pate en croûte, the galantine, and or terrine, the whole muscle, each item is accompanied by its own salad. One needs to be a grain or farinaceous, one needs to be a green, one needs to be a vegetable. So you have 3 salads going, 1 with each one of your main items. And then there's also 3 accompanying sauces of different styles. So they can be any styles you want, but you can't make 3 mayonnaises or 3 salsas or 2 chutneys and 1 aioli. They each must be different. So 3 salads, 3 accompanying sauces must be incorporated into the menu. So
Chef, I'm keeping track of the things you want to be reminded to change. So
thank you. Thank you. All right. So now go back to share this. Okay. So now we've gone through day 2. That's your prep day, 12 hours all day long. There's the basket. You must use some portion of all your 30-minute supplemental. And now on day 3, part 1, you'll have 2 hours to slice and make final presentations for service. No supplemental requisition will be accepted for this segment. However, the common kitchen will be accessible. There will be no service window. All items are presented at the end of the 2-hour window. So if you move in the kitchen at 9 o'clock in the morning, all food must be up by 11 o'clock in the morning. And your order guide for classical cuisine is due that day by 8 a.m. Service and plating. Main items must be displayed as for a formal cocktail reception. To demonstrate proper portioning, 1 additional show plate, including all items produced except for the past canapes, must be on that 1 plate. We're not going to weigh it. We just want to see that the quinoa salad you made and the portion that you have on the plate correlates with what you put out as for the cocktail reception. Each main item must be served with the appropriate salad and sauce. And this can be set up however you would like. It's a cocktail reception. So it doesn't mean that your pate en croûte is plattered with the salad that goes with it on the same plate. The salad, if it's a green salad, could be served on a bowl on the side. The sauce is served in a little gooseneck on the side. It's just set up. It's not displayed as 1 platter with all pieces on 1 platter. However, if you'd like to do that, that is fine too. That is up to you to decide how you want to display your food. Pate en croûte must be displayed with a gross piece, and the gross piece must be large enough to serve an additional 4 portions. No other gross pieces are necessary to be showcased. Emphasis should be placed on the highest level of execution for the food product, with the presentation arranged to ensure an efficient flow. All items must be properly labeled, and glazing is optional and not mandatory. Now we move into day 3, part 2, cuisines of the world. The candidate must demonstrate a proficient knowledge of world cuisines. This will be evident through the preparation of 3 main courses. God, I thought I fixed that. I'm sorry. I've gone through this so many times that I don't see things anymore. Of 3 main courses from the respective regions around the world. It is expected that the candidate exhibits a deep understanding of the traditions, philosophies, and methodologies of each cuisine. The methods of service and preparation should align with the traditional integrity of each dish, showcasing mastery by presenting the dishes in the style of a special occasion for that region. The candidate must demonstrate the mastery of flavor development using established cooking techniques, fundamentals, consistency and portion control, and presentation, along with the formulation of the menu and its components. All will be evaluated at mastery level. The evaluation team will assess the candidate's performance based on their proficiency in these fundamentals and the overall methodology used in the execution of the menu and its preparation. Menu guide, the competencies, your menu guide and order guide are for classical cuisine are due by 8 a.m. The menu composition is 6 portions of 3 main courses, 3 main dishes representing the cuisines of the world. Progression of service is to be determined by the candidate. Understanding of traditional service methods appropriate for the cuisines represented. And a detailed list. There'll be a link within the manual that takes you to the AMCO website, where it has a list of the current cuisines and the possible dishes available. Will all be listed there. For cuisines of the world and for classical, the dishes that will be used will be listed on the website. So those are the dishes that you could possibly pull from. If there's a change made to those, they will be made no sooner or no later than 6 months before whenever the exam has been listed, and they would be updated on the website. And obviously, we're not changing all of them at one time. It'd be a couple at a time. All of the dishes that are represented for Cuisines of the World, we tried to make sure that those dishes are dishes you could actually put on a menu and sell, and that can be made with food that can be bought in the United States. So it should be readily available for you to make any of those dishes that you could, so that way you could practice. The timing is 4 hours of preparation, 30-minute service window, and 30-minute station cleanup. 15 minutes will be given after that to feed your bread starter. The common kitchen may be used, and candidates will have a 30-minute period to submit a supplemental requisition for non-essential items. Then we move on to day 4, classical cuisine. Based on the fundamentals of Auguste Escoffier, the candidate must demonstrate the ability to understand, interpret, and execute the philosophy of and classical cuisine as outlined in Le Guide Culinaire version 4. That is the only book that we're using for this section. This includes showcasing a thorough knowledge of the foundations and preparation techniques of classical cuisine throughout the presented menu. The service and preparation methods adhere to the classical definitions of the dish being presented. The competencies, the menu composition is a consommé, a fish course, a main course that is served as for Russian service. This is the only place in the test that you must platter a dish to be served, unless obviously you pull something out of world cuisine that should be plated in a family style manner or a Russian service manner. And then a hot souffle, savory or sweet. The savory souffle must be served as first course. The sweet souffle must be served as after the main course. It must come from Le Guide and be identified by the recipe number, and it must be served in the appropriate manner as outlined in Le Guide. Proper understanding of the cuisine of Auguste Escoffier, demonstration of proper knowledge of butchery as defined by Le Guide, understanding of proper accompaniments for the chosen dishes, and understanding the proper plating techniques for Russian service. Now, at the assessment, we have given you the accompaniment that would go with your fish and main course. At the exam, you will have to choose those side dishes, the proper starch and veg accompaniments, or whatever the accompaniments are for the fish course, to go along with the dish. This is going to be up to you. We will not give those to you. The timing is 5.5 hours preparation time, a 30-minute service window, and 30-minute station cleanup and reset. The plating, the consommé, fish, and souffle are all plated individually. The entree is plated 2 portions individually to demonstrate the proper portioning and plating of the platter, and 6 portions to follow the standards and guidelines for service a la Russe. So we want to make sure that what's on the platter matches what's on the plate. And as you're researching Russian service, remember, this is the idea that someone's coming to the table as a waiter and serving the food, so it should be easily serviceable from a platter. The common kitchen may be used, and you'll have a 30-minute window to supplement, to put in a supplemental requisition. And then again, a comprehensive list of all current possible dishes will be available on the AMCO website for the fish, for the consommes, for the entrees. Those will all be listed out. And we have Chef Andrini took an incredible amount of time to put these dishes together to make sure that they're ones that we can look at and really evaluate without too much interpretation. So especially the consommes. We can look at the consommes and really say, is that a ravioli? Is that a julienne? Those types of things, instead of some of those wild, really kind of far out accompaniments that he puts with it, some of those consommes. Your schedule, there would be 2 hours. Then in the afternoon that day, on day 4, part 2, you have preparation for your chef's market basket. You have 2 hours of mise en place time for preparation. Again, that is any preparation that you want to do that will be most beneficial to help your program on day 5. At the end of 2 hours, you must be out of the kitchen. After reset, candidates will be given 15 minutes to feed your starter if necessary. No supplemental requisitions will be accepted for this section. However, the common kitchen will be accessible, and the apprentice may assist in storing the candidate's order guide, but are not to participate in any other manner. So 7 days before we come to the test, you will get your market basket for this day. On day 4, you'll receive the order guide that you turned in 7 days before, and your apprentice can put that all away while you're working and getting started in that 2-hour period. Candidates are required to demonstrate a mastery in the preparation. Oh, let me go back here. Also here, yeah, never mind. So candidates are required to demonstrate mastery in the preparation of a 7-course meal, showcasing advanced culinary skills, creativity, and techniques. Each course should reflect a high level of execution with an emphasis on balanced flavor, presentations, and appropriate portioning. This is very similar to what you do at the assessment program. However, we remove all of the necessary ingredients or things you need to do at the assessment program. You do not necessarily have to do a plant-based dish. You do not necessarily have to do a garde manger dish. You do not have to do a consomme unless you want to. All those things have been taken away, and it's you just writing your best menu. The meal should flow cohesively, highlighting the candidate's ability to design a comprehensive dining experience from start to finish. The evaluation will focus on the quality of each course, the use of diverse cooking methods, and the ability to present dishes that are distinct yet complementary to the overall menu. 1 week prior, you'll receive both a list of proteins and a market ingredient list containing seasonal vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and seeds. The competencies, the menu composition is 6 portions of a 7-course meal. The menu must include bread with 2 different shapes, and bread is not considered a course. It's served with one of the courses. That's to be determined by you. The dessert must include a main item, appropriate sauce, garnish, and a frozen component. Progression of the service is determined by you, the candidate. You need to understand the appropriate service methods for each course and demonstrate the proper knowledge of butchery. A portion of all provided proteins must be utilized. So outside of utilizing the protein, utilizing and making a bread to go with it, and a frozen component on your dessert, the rest of the menu is completely wide open to utilizing the common kitchen and the market ingredient list that we send you. And the market ingredient list will include more items than you could possibly need, and they will be appropriate to go with the proteins that you receive. And so the rest of the menu is up to your discretion. The timing, you will have 7 hours of preparation time. You will have a 45-minute service window, and you will have a 30-minute station cleanup. So very similar to the assessment program, except here you have an extra hour between the 2 days, and you have all of your prep. Most of your prep is going to be done on the day that you're serving your menu and not vice versa as we do at the assessment. Exam scoring. Each segment comprises a practical exam scored by a panel of certified master chefs. I need to remove one of those R's. And all must be successfully passed to earn the designation. Days 1 through 4, you must pass with a minimum score of 75%. Day 5 requires a passing score of 80% to assess the candidate's mastery, reflecting the culmination of the entire exam. The higher score ensures only those who consistently perform at an advanced level succeed. We understand that everybody is going to have an off day, and that happens through whomever is taking the exam. So instead of, like when I took the exam, it was an average, you could get this, but you had to carry an average of that just to get through everything. It's just cut and dried. It's 75% for the first 4 days, it's 80% on the last day. Each major exam is scored in the following weighted categories: 40% for the kitchen and 60% for the tasting room. An unsuccessful exam, if you score less than 75% on any one of the first 4 segments, but pass all the other segments in the first 4 days and achieve at least 80% on day 5, you may retake the failed segment immediately after the exam or at the next available opportunity. This retake is subject to the availability of the candidate, the evaluators, and the facilities. So if for some reason you failed plant-based, then you'd be able to make it up the following day if it works with everybody's schedule. If not, we would schedule it as soon as possible. Candidates who pass all segments from days 1 through 4, but do not achieve the required 80% on day 5, may retake day 5 at the next scheduled exam. Any candidate who fails 2 segments, including retakes, must retake the entire exam. The reason for this is because you're writing the menu, because we're sending you the proteins and the market ingredient list, there is really no way to do it the following day because we would not let you just redo the same menu that you sent in. So you would have to wait for the next exam to redo the exam. Candidates who fail any 2 segments, including retakes, and I've said that already, so I've got to take that out. So everybody is evaluated solely by certified master chefs. All criteria are detailed on the score sheet. Personalized feedback will be provided to the candidates, and sample score sheets will be available for you to see on AMCO's website once everything's up in the Resource Center. So we are at the question stage. A lot to go through quickly, but as I said, the whole manual will be up online within a few days, hopefully. So I'm open to any questions that anyone may have.
Chef, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, sir.
Good seeing you as well, Chef. For any leftover product or stocks, are we able to keep that for the next day?
Like say you make a chicken stock for your pate and crude on day 2, can you? Yes, you'll be able to keep that and use it for the next day and fortify whatever you're doing.
Perfect. Okay, thank you.
Chef, I have a question for you.
Sure.
What's the target date for the next exam?
We're working on a date right now. It's probably going to be February or March next year. We wanted to give everybody at least a good 9 to 10 month period to go over the exam, be able to practice the dishes that are online and really start getting your program in shape. So our goal is to set 2 exams here very shortly, one in Q1 and one in Q2 of next year.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, thoughts, comments, concerns?
Chef,
Got to be a few.
Monsieur,
Yes, Chef Young.
Yep. Just one question. Are we looking at the same cost roughly for the exam?
The cost is $7,500.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. And I can go through that real quick if you want to. I can bring up the cost and go through. So the exam cost is $7,500. When you, there is a $500 application fee that goes along with that. So when the application is filled out, and that's before, you know, any of this other, you have it when the exam is announced and you write in and say, I would like to take part in the exam that's going to be on February 3rd, 2026, and that's not the date, but you get what I mean. There is a deposit of $2,500 required at the time of registration. The remaining balance must be paid no later than 60 days before the exam. There are no refunds once the final balance is paid. However, if something came up within those 60 days, we would hold that for a future exam. So it's not like you'd lose the money completely. The space allocation, the exam is limited and will be assigned first come, first serve. If the demand exceeds capacity, additional candidates will be placed on an alternate list. The registration is fully refundable if cancellation occurs at least 90 days prior to the exam. A 50% refund is available for cancellations made between 60 and 90 days, and no refund will be issued after 60 days, before less than 60 days. If a candidate pulls out and we pull somebody from the alternate list, then the same applies to those alternates as far as the refund policies go. So that's pretty much how it'll lay out.
Well done,
What
Chef.
other questions? What other questions do we have?
How long do you have to give back what they don't need? Like we give them an hour, we give them 30 minutes every day. What's
Yeah,
the
it would. I would think. I would think that it would be an hour to give back what you're not using. So, but since on plant-based, on their Chef's Market basket, they're ordering, I would think there wouldn't be that much coming back depending on how it had to be ordered, right? So the only place it would be coming back, and same with Cuisines of the World, you know, obviously coming back on Garmager, they may not use the entire pork butt that they ordered, but I would say it's within the first hour that should be returned. That's a good point, Chef. We may need to add that.
Yeah, it's important for them to know.
Sure. Any other questions? Thoughts? I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Since you're the first one seeing it. And
yeah, I'm
yes, Paul.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for doing all this work. You know, I've been following the exam since I was an apprentice, and just amazed at the work that all of the master chefs have put into making this an option for some of us. So I appreciate it. Looking through it, it is still I don't want to say overwhelming, but very challenging to and daunting to approach. But at the same time, I think it's within reach for a lot of us on this call today. So thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. And the committee did a lot of work, and we had a lot of discussions. And our main focuses was getting it within a week, to make it so you could come in and out within a week, number one. Number two, we wanted to make it as transparent as possible, which I think we've done. And through the assessment program, it's certainly making it very transparent. And number three, we wanted to take away as much of us dictating to you what to do and giving you the opportunity to make decisions that affect your program. And so I think that's very important. As much as we can, we've given you the ability to make good and bad decisions throughout the whole exam. And I would say that, you know, here on this call, we've got one that took the 8-day bifurcated. I don't know if Chef Brian took the 10-day or the 8-day, but we have two that took the 8-day, and at least one that took the 10-day. And trust me, this 5 days to me is just as intense as the 10 days was. So, and it's all focused on the food and your ability to cook. Notice one thing I want to make sure that you understand, that you have to do a bread on day 5 like you do now, but we're allowing you to bring that starter with you. So if you decided you wanted to make an artisan bread, you could begin that starter now and start building that starter so it's in beautiful, great shape by the time you get there, right? You still have to be able to know how to handle it and bake it come day 5, but we're giving you the ability to give us the best bread that you could make. Or if you wanted to make a simple Parker House roll, that is certainly, you can certainly do that. However, again, that comes down to the ability to make good or bad decisions, right? So.
There's a question. Are there standardized recipes? This is from Chef Halliday. Hold on. Are there standardized recipes for all test sites to use for the base stocks, or does the candidate bring their own?
No, you do not bring your own stocks, but we will make sure that the stocks that are available to you are of good quality. So, and from the tests that we have run in the past at Schoolcraft, that has never been an issue.
Not even close. Those stocks have been increased.
So, but that's a good question, Chef Halliday.
You know, I'd just like to chime in and say, Chef, I think you did an excellent job of presenting that, and it's been an absolute pleasure to work on this test. I know how much work you've put in, and Chef Andrini, Chef Says, Chef Scott. There's been a lot of work put into this test, and I think you presented it really well. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm sorry for the mistakes in the presentation. I will fix those before Thursday. It's just, I've read this thing so many times that I literally need to send it to people to look at and say, you know, just see them anymore. I will ask everybody on this call to keep this quiet until I wasn't supposed to do this presentation until Thursday for the ACF. We'll be doing a webinar on Thursday with the ACF at, I think, 12 or 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. So please don't let anybody know that you've seen this, because I told them the first place we'd see it from there. And Keith just asked a question. On World Day, are there global, or do you bring your own? Well, you certainly can bring your own spice deck with you. And if there's something, you know, I would think that whatever dishes we pull, we're going to make sure that the host site has the spices that are necessary to make those dishes. So you would not need to, but I know some people, you know, and it's certainly fine. You can bring your own spice deck with you.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, and I'll tell you this, you know, I don't think, and I may be talking for myself, but the mixture of spices before you get there, I don't care. At the end of the day, it's about how the food tastes, and I don't care if you mixed it or your Comey mixed it or you bought it from Mrs. Dash, right? At the end of the day, you're putting your name on it, and the food has to taste good. So,
Thank you. Thank you, Chef.
Yes, sir. What else? Who else? Anybody else have questions or thoughts or comments?
Chef, I have one more question, please.
Absolutely, sir.
For plateware, we're just going to use the schools, or are we required to bring our own for certain?
No, you will not. You will not bring your own plates, and it is our goal. What we're working on is Corby Hall will be supplying all the china, and as we work that out, that'll become another page on the resource where you can go look at the catalog and see the plates that will be available. But if there is, you know, I would say that on the Garde Manger day, if you know that you have a certain platter you'd like to put your pate en croûte on or display your whole mussel on, you know, if you wanted to bring that with you, that would certainly be fine. You know, but I wouldn't be traveling with that stuff unless I had to.
Yes, Chef.
So really, at the end of the day, Chef, presentation certainly plays a part, but I would think that the presentation is more about how the food looks and not the plate that it's on, unless you're serving it to us on a blue glass plate, right? Then we may have a problem with that. But I would be more concerned and be worried more about how my food tastes than necessarily the plate it's on.
Yes, Chef.
So,
Thank you.
yes, sir. Anyone else? Yes,
Yes,
Chef, yes.
Thank you for all your hard work on the exam. Is there any wine or beverage component to the exam? I remember a wine course requirement prior.
Yes, there is still, that's part of the prerequisites, and we can, since we have some time, I'll bring that up and we can go over that real quick, the prerequisites. Okay, so the pre-qualifications, obviously based on your work experience and background, you must be a current member of the ACF, you must be a CEC, and then you must show documentation of 30 hours of wine service through an accredited college, university, or culinary program, or level 1 certification through the Court of Master Sommeliers, or level 2 certification through WITSET. So any one of those three would take care of that beverage portion. You must show completion of 30 hours of human resources, or, and this should be an or here, or hold either 30 hours advanced sanitation from a university or school, or be a ServSafe manager. And for those who don't know, the ServSafe manager means you passed that test with more than a 95% and you're eligible to teach that course. You must have 30 hours of cost management if your CEC was completed before 2018. And you must have two successful completions, completion of the first two sections of the AMCO assessment. So the footnote to this is holding a CCA certification takes care of all of those requirements, except for obviously the completion of the two sections of AMCO, and so the assessment program. And those two sections are the menu writing section and the in-person first cooking section. Now, after that, if you want to go on and do two more sections, as a couple people have done, you're certainly welcome to do that. But once you have passed the in-person cooking section of the assessment program successfully, then you are eligible to sit for the exam. Now, there will be times when people will say to us, you know, I really don't want to do the assessment program, which we are not in any way, shape, or form advocating for, just because I think it gives a transparency to the exam for people to see how everything works. But those would be on a case-to-case basis. So, you know, depending on who that individual is, they possibly may not go through the assessment program. but we would highly recommend that for everybody. I think anybody on this call who's been there has gained great experience and great knowledge and feel much more comfortable in the kitchen after going through at least one time cooking in front of everyone. And Chef Richard just said, as a side note, we're looking to change the CCA certification to more of a kitchen manager certification in the spirit of attempting to bring more fast casual chefs into the ACF and certification. Yeah, and if that happens, Chef will address however that affects this. I took that directly from the website as it stands right now, so that's why that's in there. So, since all of you are already in the assessment program, most of you already meet all of those requirements that are necessary as pre-qualifications. Who else? Okay, I guess everybody's ready just to go jump in and take the test then. So we'll sign you all up and we'll get you moving. So, but yeah, thank you, Chef Young, for running through plant-based. You definitely helped us. Chef Ford and Chef Andrini said that it really helped make sure that the score sheet flushes out well and works, and that you did a fantastic job. And Chef Jensen, thank you for doing classical again for us. That definitely is very helpful, and Geo too for helping us do that. It certainly, as much as you learned from it, we learned to make sure that everything within what we're doing makes sense. And I will tell you that this has probably been the most tested and researched exam that we've ever put out. In the past, it's never been where we've written something new and then ran portions of it ever. It's just been written and then we just kind of go with it. So it's nice to actually be able to do this up front and make sure everything's working. So, and we will most probably, I don't know if Chef Ford did it this time, but next time we will certainly be using the day 5 score sheet for your assessment, along with the score sheet that they already use to give you all that feedback to make sure that those score sheets work as well. So.
Sorry, Chef, we didn't, but I know we can go back and we can score it to test those sheets out.
Yeah, we're making sure that all those score sheets work and make sense. So, so my goal is, I spoke with Carol Ann Ford today. Our goal is that by Thursday, I'm going to be sending her a bunch of stuff today. By Thursday, hopefully, or by Friday, the exam will be up on the website, on the Resource Center, along with all the resource pages. There will be resource pages added as we move along, and they may be adjusted. The whole idea is that it's there, and that if we need to, and it's only going to be virtual. So if we need to make changes to the handbook, it'll be made online and it'll be obviously put out as a notice to everybody. But we will not be, once it's up, it's pretty much what we're going to run for the first exam so everybody can see it. And to go back to your question, Chef Young, on price, there is a footnote in there that says we reserve the right to change the price of the exam, but we would not do that. We would give 1 year notice to any increase in that price so that it makes it possible for you to budget correctly moving forward.
Before we go away, Chef, I would like to thank you and Chef Ford for the leadership. Without you two guys, we will never be there. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm a small cog in a very big wheel that made this happen. So I appreciate, and another person who was very instrumental in doing this was Chef Volkemer. And as we get this up, Chef Volkemer, myself, and Chef Decker will be sitting down and updating and getting the CMPC exam and manual out as fast as possible as well. So it's our goal moving forward that both tests will be running in tandem and kind of mirror each other each day. So that's our next goal. But Chef, I will tell you that this started, when was it we got together? Was it last year or the year
22?
before? When we got, no, it was 20, I took over in 23, right? So early 24, we met in Atlanta, right?
I don't remember. I just remember meeting in Texas in 22.
Yeah, we started in 22, but then Chef Sayas, Chef Ford, Chef Volkemer, Chef Andrini, and myself sat in my daughter's dining room for 4 days, where we hammered out the basic outline of this. And I can tell you that the constant changes that this has gone through, getting us to this point, it's been a lot of work by everybody, and but I think every change we've made in the right direction. So, and it's been presented at our AMCO Summit. I've shown it to every generation of Master Chef. Let's put it that way, from Chef Metz all the way to Chef Sayas, who's our newest Master Chef, has seen this in some iteration and have received only one chef didn't like the exam out of the 35 or 40 that saw it. And, you know, but he still thinks that you should stoke your stoves with coal every morning and walk uphill in August in the snow to get to work. So we took that for what it was worth and kept moving. So, all right, folks. Well, if there's nothing else,
let me piggyback off of that really quick before we disappear. You know, as you're all thinking about this test and looking at moving forward, I've got dates for the next in-person assessment, October 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to be sending out an email. If that doesn't work for some of you that have been trying to get to an assessment program, send me some dates for June or July that we can look at that works for you. But I'd really like to try and get the next one. I already have it solidified. It'll be in Port Huron, October 1, 2, and 3. Chef Walker, please take it away.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic. I'm planning on being there. I just got to clear the schedule with my boss. So yeah. If there's nothing else, if there's any other questions, please feel free to email out, reach out, ask, and any question that you ask will go back out to the entire assessment group so everybody can get the answer as well.
And I'll start compiling FAQs of frequently asked questions, because I think those were some really good questions today that we can add to the resource page.
Yeah, absolutely. And the resource page is set up so there's hyperlinks throughout it where you can jump from the table of contents to a page. You can jump to the resource page. You'll be able to click on that link on the resource page, and it should take you to the website and to the page that you're looking for the resource. So those are a couple of things that Carol Ann is working out for us to make sure they're going to work. And then that'll all be up on the website, which should make it much easier for you to use. So, anyway, folks, and also please, if you see a mistake in there, and we've all looked at this 100 times, so if you see a mistake or something doesn't make sense, please let me know so that we can clarify it. I will not be upset whatsoever because I want the information to be out there to be correct, and I apologize again for not having the PowerPoint 100% accurate for the run through today. So with that, I shall bid everybody on to do, unless there's something else.
Thank you all for your work in the assessment program. Thanks for being here with us, and we look forward to seeing you again moving forward.
Thank you, chefs.
Walker.
Thank you, chefs.
Thank you. It was great. You too.
Thank you, chefs. Thank you, chefs.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Thank you.
See you.